Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Classic Gaming Brothers. I'm Seth.
And I'm Zach.
And we are the Classic Gaming Brothers.
Yep, that's us.
Yep, that's right.
That's right.
Alright, roll the outro. So here this is our 21st episode. So
yeah.
our pod is officially old enough to drink.
It can drink. It is
exciting.
It is a full-grown adult.
Yes.
It can't rent a car yet, though.
No, it cannot rent a car by itself. And it still will get carded because it looks young.
It looks young, but it is mature.
It is mature.
Yeah.
It is mature. So, anyway, welcome back, and let's just get right into it. So, Zach, what have you been playing recently?
So I've recently been playing a game called Dusk, D-U-S-K. Dusk, I played a little bit of it at PAX. It is a game that's been out for a bit, but the developer, New Blood Interactive, I believe it was New Blood, was there showing the game off. So Dusk is a retro-styled first-person shooter. It was released in 2018 and was created by David Szymanski? I think that's how you say his name. I'm going to go with that. So David Szymanski wanted to create a Doom-style or Quake-style first-person shooter, and that's what we get with Dusk. It takes place in a fictitious town called Dusk, Pennsylvania, with a population of 666. And you play as a treasure hunter known as the Intruder, or Dusk Dude, if you prefer, who gets kidnapped by a cult that is worshipping a Lovecraftian demonic entity, and your Dusk Dude escapes, and you have to blast your way out of the town, and then go through like a facility, and then you have to kill their leader, who's this like Lovecraftian god.
Is it set in the Wild West?
No, it's set in Pennsylvania.
All right.
Rural
That
Pennsylvania.
It's
west of us.
West of us.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it's a wild time.
Yes.
So it's like the Wild West.
You have to fight like chainsaw wielding like cultists, these guys who throw like fireballs at you.
I think there's a game called Dust that is a first-person game set in the Wild West, which is what I'm thinking of when you say Dusk.
Yeah, this is Dusk, like the time of day.
Yeah. Yes. Dust was actually made by Cyberflix, which did the Titanic Adventure Out of Time.
Oh, well, Dusk is a very fun game. It's a very fast-paced shooter, akin to Doom and Quake and Unreal, all those like classic 90s first-person shooter games. Though it does have a little bit of a modern spin to it. It's built in Unity, so it has a bit more capability than some of those older engines do. It also
a Y-axis. Can you go?
Yes.
Like or is that the X-axis or is that the Y-axis?
Well, no. So that
the X-axis.
That is the
X.
So
X goes up and
X-axis.
down. Y goes left to right.
It not only has an X-axis, it has what they refer to as an unlocked X-axis, so that you can do like backflips and stuff like that if you're in the air. So yeah, it's
fun.
Yeah,
you beat it.
I haven't beaten it yet. I got to the second chapter. So the game is divided into chapters similar to Doom. I'm in chapter 2, which is called The Facilities. It gets very dark, and the game is actually, despite having really low polys, looks like Quake in graphics, game is kind of terrifying at times. There's one enemy in particular that's based on a Wendigo, which is a type of creature from Native American folklore, and you can't see the enemy when you first encounter it. All you can see is a trail of blood, and then it will start attacking you, and even then you can't see it. And the moment you shoot it, the game kind of makes a like screaming sound, and it appears, and it's this like goat-headed skeleton monster, and it jumps at you.
Cool.
So it has some horror elements to it. In the facilities, there's a part you like break your flashlight, so you're in pretty much the pitch dark. You have to like light things using your pistol. So
Is there a flashlight on your pistol, or
no.
things-
Like the best
like
way
with-
to see stuff is to just like fire off a round so that things flash out. It's not like recommended,
sounds-
obviously, but
yeah, just attract people to your attention.
yeah, but if you can't see,
If you
can't
can't
fight.
see, might as well just shoot your pistol.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a fun game. I'm enjoying it. I'll probably play more. Thinking after I play a little bit more, I'm probably going to go back to the beginning, play some of the harder difficulties. I'll stream that.
Oh, fun! Yeah, it looks like a fun game that people might want to watch you play. It's very retro. It's like retro style graphics in regards to like classical, like more like 90s Doom, not 2020s Doom.
Right. So it's more of the graphics are more like classic games like Quake and Unreal Tournament and stuff like that. It takes a lot of inspiration from the games and the movies of that time period. So Seth,
Nice.
what have you been playing?
So I actually just finished playing My Friend Pedro, which is a game that was developed by Dead Toast Entertainment and was published by our friends over at Devolver Digital. And it was released in 2019, June of last year, and is a banana game. So it's a game where you play as this guy who shoots things. It's a physics type shooter, so you can like your character it's like a third person platformer where you can get into like weird like animations because you can like bend and flip and roll. It's almost like if you took like Metroid and you gave Metroid like a pistol, it's kind of like, and the ability to slow down time, it's kind of like that. You can also, it's got a unique, so I played it with my Xbox controller on the PC, and it has the ability where you can split your shots. So if you have like 2 pistols or 2 Uzis, you can use your left toggle to aim at somebody to your left, and you can have your right toggle to aim at somebody to your right. So you get points. And the game is all about like point and combos. So the objective is to go through the game fast because you're scored on every level. So you want to get through the game fast. You want to get through the game while with getting the most combos, which you get by killing people in unique ways quickly after each other. And it's cool. The game gives you a bunch of different weapons to choose from. It's got a really weird story. You're doing everything at the behest of your friend Pedro, who is a banana, and you go through killing bad guys because a banana told you to. And the game gets a little trippy at some points and times, but overall, it's a fun, light type of game. It's on the Switch, the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, and Windows, and so I could see it definitely being a fun game to play like on the Switch. It could be a cool like console game as well.
Cool. Is that what you've been playing it on the Switch, or have you been playing it on PC?
No, PC with my Xbox controller.
Okay, cool.
And I got it through Humble Bundle, which is a great charity, and so I got it through my subscription of Humble Bundle, so I had it kicking around, and I said, might as well try this game. I was looking for something a little more lighter, I guess, and that met kind of like that itch at the time.
Not to like, not to trail off of anything, but Humble Bundle right now has been doing a lot of stuff, like raising money for different things for COVID-19, I believe. I know that they had a major, like, I think it was like 30 games for $30 or something crazy.
Yeah.
That it was like $400 worth of games for a $30 deal that the money was going to help the COVID-19 response. So they're definitely worth checking out if you want to give a little money to charity, but also get something that you can play in return. And they have a bunch of different ways that you can spread that money out when you're paying for stuff. You know, you can give it all to charity, or you could split it amongst, you know, charity and the devs, or however you want to do it.
Yeah, it's a great avenue to also to pick up a bunch of things at once. I know I've subscribed to them, and I've subscribed to them for probably the last 2 years now.
Yeah.
Maybe even longer. I've actually subscribed to them for so long that I'm on their old subscription plan, and they've actually gotten rid of the subscription plan that I have. So they now give you a thing called Humble Choice, where you subscribe to a monthly fee, and you're allowed to pick up to a certain number of games depending on the tier that you're in. And they're usually at least 1 or 2 AAA titles. They're not older. They're generally pretty solid assortment of games.
Yeah.
It is actually where a majority of the games that we use in our giveaway where they come from. But
yeah, I mean, when we get some extra keys, you know, we have to do something with them.
That's right. So do you want to get into the?
Yeah, so I guess we'll get into the meat of the podcast. I mean, Seth, you mentioned that My Friend Pedro can be a bit trippy, which I think is appropriate because the games we are talking about today are, as I like to at least refer to them, and I think Seth enjoyed the term, fever dream games. So I think to explain what I meant by fever dreams when I put this originally in my notes, I wanted to talk about games that we played as kids, but might not have remembered until something like spurred the memory. And then when you're thinking about it, you had to think to yourself, like, would this game really exist? And like, you know, you go on a little path of trying to remember the game, and you realize that maybe remembering the game didn't add anything to your life, you know? Like, maybe there's a reason you forgot it. So we're talking about weird games that are just popped back into our head for whatever reason recently, and they're games that we played, and they're games that I think we enjoyed a couple of them. I don't know if we loved them, but they're definitely weird games that definitely they're out there.
They're weird. They're also games that I feel like we didn't acknowledge they even were a thing.
Yeah,
like clips of them brought back memories of owning it or playing it.
Yeah.
So we went through and we picked 6 games because we like to do everything in iterations of 3.
Yep.
So we picked 6 games to go over and talk about, and we'll kind of go through them. Zach has clear memories on some of them, and I have clear memories on the other one. Some of them were kind of equal. So we'll start it off with let's go back to the year 1994.
Let's.
It was a fun year.
I was 1.
Yes, Zachary was 1. I was not 1. And there was a game that we owned that had demos at the end of it. And I believe actually XCOM was that game.
Was it XCOM?
I think it was, at least. Or the demo of XCOM was in the game. There was, because it was done by Microprose. So Microprose.
Right.
So okay. Microprose was a publisher that we've talked about previously. They published XCOM and a number of the Sid games and stuff like that, like the Pirates and stuff. They big publisher. They were also primarily known for strategy games like XCOM and flight games like F-11-7A was a stealth bomber flight game. So it's interesting that they then teamed up with a developer known as, well, they picked up a developer to publish a game called Everywhere Software. Everywhere was spelled EVRYWARE, and they created a game. Everywhere created a game called Space Kids.
Space Kids.
Space Kids is an interesting game. According to the German box art, which is the only image that is available in Wikipedia about this game, beyond the one line for the plot. The game is it's got Space Kids written out in fun lettering. It's got a moon that's waxing, with a smiley face and a nose and a sleeping cap, and then two little look like onions.
Yeah, one looks like one looks like an onion. The other kind of looks like
a plum.
Yeah,
maybe?
like a plum. Yeah.
With hands
Yes.
that are not attached,
No.
very like Rayman style.
Yeah.
And then in a saucer that also has eyes,
Yes.
a green like a flying saucer.
Yes.
The game's plot is about these two kids who are the plum and the onion, named Zeedle and Deet, and they live on the moon, or they're coming from the moon.
Yeah,
and
visiting the
they're
moon.
needing well, no, they're traveling from the moon to go to Earth.
Yeah,
to find
yeah.
their lost grandfather, who is a famous space explorer.
Yes.
And they take their flying saucer to go see him. So that would imply that they are aliens of some degree.
So Seth describes the plot pretty concisely there, and the plot is only about 2 sentences on Wikipedia. But I would like to quickly describe the memories I have of this game, which are from the demo that Seth and I had on this demo disc.
We did not. So this is our memories aren't even of the complete game.
Right.
Our memories are only of the demo.
So here's what I remember of the demo. It pans down to a house on a street, and the house is also a dog. It's a dog house. And the UFO goes down to the house, and you have to time it to get through a window that is also alive on the doghouse. And then you go inside, and everything... So the background is all black inside. You never actually see what's inside the house. Then there's an elephant. And the elephant is trying not to get a fly to go up his trunk. And as the elephant is trying to avoid getting the fly off the trunk, he doesn't want to get crushed by the UFO. So then you either have to avoid getting crushed by the UFO, or you get crushed by the UFO, and then Zeedle and Deet climb out of the UFO, and I'm pretty sure that's where the demo ended.
I think it actually ended a little bit past that.
It might, yeah.
The game played with the numpad as the control scheme, and you had 8 arrows that you would pick, and then you could select which character you're using, and then you could input commands to them.
Yeah.
It was actually reviewed, which is the only other line in the Wikipedia article. It was reviewed in 1995 in an issue of Dragon Magazine, which was the magazine that was created for Dungeons and Dragons. So in this issue of Dragon Magazine, they had a segment. This was issue 215. They had a segment called Eye of the Monitor, and they reviewed these guys, Ray and D. J and D. J and D reviewed games in a conversation back and forth between each other, and they talked about Space Kids for some reason. And one reviewer gave it 4 stars. The other reviewer gave it 2.5 stars. Essentially, they walked away with talking about how the game did not give you there was very little text. There wasn't really any explanation of what was going on. The puzzles were obtuse, but there was a skip key that you could just skip the puzzle and go on to the next video segment. Though they both did talk about the very high quality 20-page instruction manual that came with the game, though only 2 pages were dedicated to actually teaching you how to play the game. The rest was just a story about the 2 kids, which would give you the story that you would need to then play the game.
I see. that's appropriate that they would enjoy that, considering it's a Dungeons and Dragons magazine. They would like stories.
One of them did. The other one did not like it.
Well,
They also talked about how back in the 90s, they would do whatever they could to package computer games in a fun box, because you were making your choice on to buy this game based on marketing materials, including the box. There weren't really any, there wasn't a curated list from Steam that would give you a mostly positive or mostly negative review on a game that's not even out.
Right.
You'd have to go to the store, look at all the different computer games available, and make your decision then. So computer games, they usually came in just a box with something, but some had all sorts of weird shapes or sizes to try to stand out from the crowd.
They wanted to entice people, yeah.
Space Kids came shrink wrapped with what is like a wide picture frame that Microprose calls is a screeny, and you can attach it with Velcro to on your computer monitor. And then when you get tired of Zeedle and Deet waving at you from the front of the screeny, you can flip it over and draw on it your own scene. And you also got stickers to decorate whatever you decorate with stickers for the game. So a lot more than what you get with a game nowadays.
Oh yeah, a ton more. I mean, that's a ton of content, but wild. I love it. What a weird game.
It was a strange game. My memories were a little bit more clearer about the game. I think I was the one that actually mentioned it to Zach, and he thought that it was which is where this episode came from. I mentioned Space Kids to Zach, and Zach said, I thought I dreamed that as a I legitimately nightmare fuel.
I legitimately blocked that entire game out of my memory, and then when I watched I think it was Vsauce did a video on it where the guy was playing through it, and I was just like, what is happening?
Yeah, I sent it to you. I sent you that video.
Yeah, I was just like, what? And I was freaking out for a while because it was like all these weird memories were coming back.
Yeah, it's a trippy game. Yeah. You should watch a YouTube video. Just YouTube Space Kids 1994, and you can realize how strange it is. You had more history with the next game.
Yeah, so the next game has at least a similar history in terms of how we played the game. So we described before our father liked to bring home a lot of demo discs and stuff like that. I'm not exactly sure where he got them. I think he got them from bookstores and things. I think he found them just around.
It's on the sidewalk.
Yeah, I never knew. But he had one in particular that was a collection of Ubisoft titles. And I think there was a different flight simulator, I think, that was on that one. And then there was a couple other games that I think might have had the Tomb Raider demo on it. And then there was this, Hype the Time Quest. So I mentioned Hype the Time Quest in one of my recently been playings because I have recently downloaded a copy of the game and got it to work on a modern computer. So for a reminder, Hype the Time Quest is an action platformer from Ubisoft Montreal. It is using it's a 3D platformer, and it has the IP as of the ever popular, ever favorite plastic toy building set Playmobil.
Yes. Not Lego enough.
Not Lego enough. Yeah, fake Legos, bad Legos, as I called them. It was, according to the box, the game was quote-unquote PC's answer to The Legend of Zelda, and has kind of similar gameplay mechanics in some parts to 3D Zelda games. I mean, you're solving puzzles, you're slashing stuff with swords, and you're killing bad guys, but that's about it. I probably played the demo like a billion times, and it also, the full game has a time travel mechanic. You can voyage to 4 different eras in this mystical world. I will say one thing going for the game that I've noticed is that it does not care about the whole Playmobil IP at all. it like just ignores it. Like the characters are Playmobil characters, but they don't like make reference to the fact. They don't talk about being made of plastic or having like weird C-shaped hands. They're just like we're in a mystical land and we also look weird. It's like playing like Lego Island and they don't acknowledge the fact that they're Legos.
Oh, Lego Island.
That'll be for a Lego Fever Dream game.
It could be its own episode.
But yeah, that's Hype the Time Quest is just one of those games that I completely forgot about. And then when I think when Seth and I were talking about Space Kids one day, I was like, oh yeah, this game too, and that's how I fell down that rabbit hole.
It's you mentioned that you'd like time travel in the game.
Yeah, there is like a time travel mechanic. Your character is supposed to be from the past, and he gets frozen by an evil wizard. So the beginning of the game, your character gets frozen by an evil wizard and becomes a statue in like a garden. And many years down the line, this apprentice wizard brings you back to life because he doesn't realize that you're actually a frozen person, and is just trying to turn this stone statue into a living statue so he can have a slave. That's like, he's like, I'm gonna make this statue do all of my work, and he like zaps it, and then you come back to life and he's like, uh-oh, it's a person.
And remember, everything is still Playmobil themed.
Yes. All of this is happening in a Playmobil themed world.
I feel like it's such a contrast to like the new Lego games, where I feel like they built all this story into this Playmobil and didn't acknowledge the brand that they were. Like they were like, we have this license to make this Playmobil game. We're going to make this story that could just work without being a Playmobil game. And we're like, the Lego games of today are just you playing as a Lego through a different, like, it's the exact opposite. Like, it is more like I'm a Lego in the Harry Potter world, where I'm this weird story that just happens to be also Playmobil.
Yeah, like in Lego games, like usually they're self-acknowledging. They'll call it like Lego Island or Lego Loco, or Lego anything. In this, it's like the land of Toras, ruled by King Taskin IV. It's like, I think the one thing that they do that is kind of a reference to the fact that they are plastic people is the fact that the currency that you pick up, I think, is called plastic, but spelled like Plastik or Tyk. So it's plastic spelled wrong. And that's the reference there. That's it. Like, you could literally change the name of the currency and just ignore the fact that they're Playmobil characters, and it's still the same exact game. It's a very strange game.
Well, I think all these games are very strange.
Yeah. Do you want to? I don't even remember Evil. The most I remember the next game is from seeing it for sale at flea markets, like recently.
So, this game, the next game, and did we mention Hype the Time Quest came out in 1999?
No, but we did just now.
Yes, and this game came out in 2000.
We're going right up.
We're going right through chronologically, and then we'll backtrack a little bit towards. We didn't organize this list beforehand. It's like a bell curve. This game was called Evolva. Evolva, and this game has been plaguing me in the most recent weeks because I could not remember what the game was called, and it is not Evolvo with an O, and it is not Evolve, those are two different games.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to look up for a game that you could, like, I was like, there's evolution involved, there's weird things, and the stroke of luck right before we started recording this podcast, I typed in Evolva, and the second listing was this game, and it was exactly as I remember, where you play as these creatures known as Geno Hunters, and you have to progress yourself through these 12 linear levels, and there's just the way that the creatures looked were very weird, and they would get different abilities that you could then mutate
Yep.
into, and you could get like claws, or you could be able to get super jump, or be able to vomit flammable liquids. And you essentially develop these new abilities by killing creatures and absorbing their DNA.
Right. Okay.
And it was developed by a company called Computer Artworks and published by Virgin Interactive, which was their very UK kind of inspired games. So actually, I know we do have some UK listeners. They may be more familiar with Evolva. If you are familiar with Evolva as a game that you played, since it's got reviews in Eurogamer, let us know, because I don't know how I got a copy of it. It is an action game where you're running around, you're just beating up other creatures and essentially evolving yourself to become, like, you can get hook for hands and stuff. And the creatures look like, it's hard to describe what they look. They're like humanoid,
Yeah.
and like bipedal creatures that have like blue or green skin, and they're kind of reptilian almost. They're kind of like reptilian bipedal mutants.
They're kind of like what I would describe the aliens in History Channel specials about how famous politicians are secretly aliens. It's kind of like how you'd expect those to be animated.
Yes. Part of the reason for the game didn't have a very good multiplayer support, and the game only had 12 large, but they're 12 linear levels. And the game was also it took a little bit to run, so not all computers could run it, but it was praised as being innovative.
Yeah.
And it definitely it was a game that I'm just happy to remember the name of it, and maybe I'll remember it for another couple of years.
And the good news is, out of the list of games that we have here, this game is available on Steam right now for $9.99.
Is it? Oh,
It is.
I'm gonna buy it.
Do it. Yeah. It's Evolva. Yep. $9.99.
Is there multiplayer support?
Oh, I don't know. No, it's single player, but you should
Darn.
buy it and stream it.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll stream it.
So the next game is games, I should say, or not games. What are they? They're like applications.
Like applications.
Yeah, it's like having a calculator.
Say kind of like a calculator.
It's part of a series of programs created by a company called PF Magic. And these are the Pets series, as we would call them, which included Cats, Dogs, which was later bundled as Cats and Dogs, and then Oddballs. And I should make clarification that there is no S in these names. This is CATZ, DOGZ, and Oddballs with a Z.
Yeah, because that's cool.
Yeah, it is very cool. And it also is a reference to PF Magic's first game, which was just called Balls. Can't say that with a straight face. Balls, which was a fighting game. But these aren't fighting games. These are like Tamagotchis.
Yes, and it's very, very true. They were the Pets. So you possibly might remember the Pets games as you listen to this, and since there was a bunch of them.
Yeah.
There were, in fact, 5 of them. There were dogs and cats, and they started with dogs, and they went to cats, and then they just created more and more and more, up until 2002. So from 1995 to 2002, we saw, 10 iterations of the games?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like up 5, it's Pets 1 through 5. With either dogs or cats. I think you could play with them at the same time, though. So 5 iterations, multiple different things. But 1996, they made a game called Oddballs, which did not have cats nor dogs.
No.
But weird creatures that came from eggs.
Oddballs, if you would.
And these games had like a assortment of tools that you could use on your pet.
Yeah.
You could feed them, you could pet them, you could slap them, you could play with them with toys, or you could punish them with deterrents, such as a large gravity ball that, if you rolled into your oddballs, would make them explode and have their eyeball like float outside. They got better because they were still like a very Tamagotchi type situation. Mm-hmm. And so the oddballs also had it came because it was in a window, so you had like a playpen area with them, as well as all the pets, and you could actually pop them out, and they could be on your desktop, and that was kind of part of the gimmick, was that they'd be like a desktop critter. I feel like almost in akin to the Star Wars game that we talked about, Yoda Stories. Yeah. It's kind of in that like niche little genre of video games that you should probably not be playing at work, but you are playing at work.
I think it was designed to be one of those, kind of like in that era where not everyone had like screensavers, so they would have like interactive games to play to kind of keep themselves busy. And I think like not only those that like Yoda Stories games, but also Chips Challenge would fall into that.
Chips Challenge,
just like a game you could jump into. That really wasn't something to like sink your hours into.
Yeah, if it was like a break from I was gonna say Minecraft, Minesweeper.
Yeah, it was like if you got tired of playing Solitaire.
Minesweeper. I was actually playing on a side note, I was playing a game called Eliza.
Okay.
Which is an interesting visual novel type game. And in it, you can play Solitaire. I think I played like 3 hours of Solitaire in the game.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Because you get an achievement if you beat the Solitaire on Expert.
Perfect.
So and the game only has one achievement. So if I get that achievement, I 100% the game.
There you go.
So I do. You should. Do you want to go on with? I think Pets and Oddballs, strange game. Do you have any thoughts about them?
They're just very strange games. But they
Oddballs more than Pets. I feel like Pets is
Pets and Cats and Dogs and Pets and stuff. Those were pretty regular. Oddballs was just was literally the oddball out.
Like the dog in the dog's game, there's like a dog door that you could put the dog away. In the Oddballs, you shot them down a tube to get them to go away.
It's like a vending machine.
It was a vending machine. It's just a strange,
very
game.
Strange game.
I feel like they were like, pets and cats are dogs and cats are successful. Might as well try to make some weird crap.
The next game we have is also. I mean, I don't know if I would classify it as a game, but it was a kind of a rudimentary 3D design software targeting kids called Crayola 3D Castle Creator, and it was designed by the Crayola Crayon Company. As part of they had a series of games that were coming out around this time, which was 1998, and in Crayola 3D Castle Creator you had to build a castle in this kind of little 3D space, and then once you build the castle, you are given the opportunity to walk around it in a first-person perspective, and you can also interact with some of the inhabitants of the castle. So you could talk to the blacksmith guy, or the king, or the princess, or the
I vaguely remember that.
So I think that was what I found to be the coolest part. I will say that just doing a quick Google search of this game has gotten me currently nowhere. I found one YouTube video of a guy talking about it. And then if I go into the images, I'm actually getting pictures of Afterlife now. Oh, and now I'm just getting pictures of just the cover art for it, which was this picture of a 3D model looking castle with like a jester sitting in front, and the jester was, I believe, there in the game. He would they would assist you with stuff. It was a
but not like, it doesn't Hype the Time Quest have a weird jester in it?
Probably. So yeah, that's Crayola 3D Castle Creator, a weird game that I kind of have fond memories of. I think I actually lost my original disc, and then I eventually found it. So,
Is it on Abandonware?
that is a good question. I don't believe so. I think it actually is not on Abandonware, but I can look around for it.
You should just write a letter to the Crayola company and ask for a copy of it.
Yeah, just be like, hey guys,
send me a
Can
copy
I have it?
of the 3D Castle Creator from 1998. That'd be grand.
that'd be good. So anyway, I think we're just gonna go into the last game that we have on our list,
Yes.
which is. Do you want to talk about it? Because I think you
Sure.
remember the game.
I do remember the game. It's
Yeah.
Men in Black.
Ooh,
Released
Here
in
come the
it was
Men in Black.
Released in the same year that the movie was, in 1997, a tie-in movie-based game called Men in Black took place not really in the movie. So this game was actually discovered right before we recorded this podcast. Zachary and I went down a YouTube journey together where we watched videos of early 90s games to see
Yeah.
if anything jumped out at us
It was nice.
that would torment us as a game that we remember having and owning. And a clip from, and it was just like short, like 3-second clips, and then it would go on to the next like 3-second clip, and it would have like the year of the game and the name of the game. And a clip from Men in Black showed up, and I was like, whoa. And memories flooding back of me owning this game and playing this game. And as I watched it, I realized I got pretty far in the game. So it's like an action adventure game where you go through the game. You start off as Agent J before he becomes a Man in Black.
Mm-hmm.
And you're running through as very like, I would say it's PlayStation 1. It was actually released on the PC first, then it got ported to the PlayStation 1. But it's got that
Right.
PlayStation 1 polygon graphics type
Yeah.
deal going on.
Yeah, it kind of actually looks a lot like Resident Evil or Alone in
Yes.
the Dark.
And has the fixed camera.
It does, yeah.
It has a fixed camera. It's got a little bit like low-key Resident Evil feel, I think is what it says. You go through, the first part is kind of like the movie where you're in New York and you're chasing down an alien like Will Smith does in Men in Black. He's chasing the alien all around in the night of New York, and they end up on the roof, and he realizes that the guy is an alien and blah, 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 and eventually gets recruited to join Men in Black. Spoiler alert, I guess. Not really. but Will Smith joins the Men in Black, becomes Agent J. Then this game departs the movie completely. You go to the Men in Black headquarters, and then you go on a whirlwind adventure where you go to the Arctic to do something there in an abandoned base. The base is abandoned. You have to figure out why it's abandoned. Then after that, you go to the Amazon to go fight a chupacabra in a mine.
A chupacabra?
A chupacabra. Yep. And then finally, you go up against a computer hacker who lives on a private island.
I remember none of those things from the movie, Seth.
Yes, none of those things are in the movie. But you can, and after you play as Agent J in the beginning, well, pre-Agent J, you may play through as Agent J, Agent K, or Agent L.
Okay.
And both Agent K and Agent L are voiced by their voice actors and voice actresses from the movies. So Agent K is voiced by Tommy Lee Jones, and Agent L is voiced by Linda Fiorentino. Fiorentino?
Okay.
Linda Fiorentino.
Okay.
Dr. Laurel Weaver. People who love the Men in Black franchise are yelling at me. But playing as any of these three people doesn't change the story at all. It's the same exact story for everybody.
Right.
It's just the different character model and the voice actor changes from either Will Smith, Tommy Lee Jones, or Linda Fiorentino. And that's Men in Black. I remember bits and pieces of it in my memory. I did not have bits and pieces of it in my memory prior to recording this episode, and now they are there to take up space and rot.
And you should try to hunt down a copy of the game and play it.
Yeah, that's on my to-do list.
along with Play Evolve, right?
Right, Evolve. Not Evolve.
Not Evolve.
That's an entirely different game. That's our episode on Fever Dreams. It was an interesting episode.
Yes, to say the least.
For
numerous reasons.
For numerous reasons. And I'm sure that we can figure out that there's probably other games that haunt our nightmares, so we may come back to the Fever Dreams segment.
And I will say I'm really interested in feedback from people on this topic, because I've had conversations with my friends about games they remember playing as kids, and like we'll be talking about a game or something, and they'll be like, oh, that reminds me of something. So if you have a game like this, if there's some game that you desperately are trying to remember, or you recently remembered, and it just feels like the weirdest thing, and you're like convinced that no one in the world played this game besides you, let us know. There's a chance one of us might have actually played it.
Describe it to us like somebody going to their mechanic and not knowing anything about cars.
Right. Yeah.
Describe what the game sounded and felt like, and we're a crack team of researchers. We will get right on it.
Right.
We will task our research department in figuring it out, and we'll get you to know. The answer is Captain Crunchling Adventures.
It's always Captain Crunchling Adventures. That's the problem.
So to wrap everything up, let's get into our byway pass so that we can finish without this podcast. So, Zach, what are you excited about buying, waiting, or passing on?
So the game I'm excited about buying, waiting, or passing on is a follow-up to a franchise that's been around for quite some time, and that is Streets of Rage.
Yes.
So Streets of Rage 4 is up and coming. It's actually due to be released April 30th, so it will be out after this episode, which is a rarity. Usually a lot of times when we talk about upcoming games, we realize that they're coming out the day of the episode, or like a couple days after, before the episode. So this time it will be released Thursday, April 30th. And it is the continuation of Sega's Streets of Rage franchise. Those are a trilogy of games released in the early 90s for the Sega Genesis system. In Japan, they were known as the Bare Knuckle games. They're kind of your average beat-em-up games from that time period. I would describe them as they feel very reminiscent of kind of like you're watching someone play Street Fighter, but without like two people fighting. So like the art style was very Street Fighter-esque in my opinion, but you were walking from one point of the screen to the other, punching and beating up people. So your usual beat 'em up. This version of the game, which is it's an official continuation of the game series, is done by .emu, who we saw at PAX. .emu also has been working on ports and remakes and sequels to a bunch of classic franchises. They're doing the sequel Windjammers 2, which I'm also excited for, and I previously talked about in a Byweight Pass. And they also did the Wonder Boy sequel or remake that came out not too long ago, Wonder Boy in Monsterland. So I think I'm going to put this game currently on a wait. I do like the Streets of Rage games, but they're not massive games that were in my my childhood, so I'm not 100% what's the term for it? I'm not like totally
You're not sold?
invested. Yeah, not totally invested in it, but I am looking forward to seeing what the game's like from reviewers and such when it's out.
Yeah, and the original Streets of Rage had a weird thing to it too, didn't it? Where if you play it on easy, you can't actually beat the game.
Yeah, I think that's right. I haven't played the game of forever, but I think the ending is like you're not able to actually get to the end if you play on easy mode. I think it's kind of like they want you to play on the harder difficulties.
So, for my Byway Pass, the game that I'm looking at is a game called Mad Experiments Escape Room, where you've been invited by Professor Cheshire and his assistant Hildegard to try their new experiments, and they're obsessed with people's minds, and they want to see how you react to their experiments. So there's puzzles that you have to solve with your friends in a multiplayer escape room. That's also what appears to be timed. The game is in early access, so it is still being developed, but you can purchase it for the price of $9.99 on your local Steam distribution program. So far, it's got 11 reviews, and they're all positive. Well, yeah, they're all positive. 11 reviews. It seems like it's a game. So it looks kind of like We Survive Together.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed We Survive Together. And it plays up to 6 people.
Oh.
So it looks like it's a cool game to be able to do a puzzle. I like doing a puzzle game with friends.
Yeah.
A puzzle game by myself is fine, but puzzle game with friends is, I think, more is enjoyable, because doing an escape room, anything where you're collaborating and trying to get out, it, I think, adds to the experience.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a game that's on my wish list because of its multiplayer puzzle aspect, and if I can get a few people to do it, maybe I'll buy it and we can stream it.
That sounds good to me.
And then we can grab a couple other Ryans, because I have a few Ryans that I can collect.
An abundance of Ryans.
Abundance of Ryans, and we can all escape from a room together as an abundance of Ryans. Only Classic Gaming Brothers and people named Ryan can join our server.
If you know someone named Ryan, don't tell us.
They are developed and published by a company called Play Together Studio, which looks like they have only made one game, and that game is Mad Experiments Escape Room.
Yeah.
And there's a demo. So I'll probably play the demo. I'll probably wait on purchasing it unless the whole like alignment of all the stars come together and we're all ready to play a game, and we don't want to play the Bigfoot or Forest or whatever game we're playing at the time.
Right.
You listening to this.
Yeah.
So then maybe we'll play this game. So there's that. And so I think that's going to be it for our Fever Dream episode.
Yeah, that is all she wrote.
That's how I'm going to have fever dreams about this episode.
Yeah. I guess for some little veil off of the curtain that of our production, we were having some interesting technical difficulties in the background.
Yes.
So props on us if this episode comes together perfectly.
and we're still recording, so who knows what other issues we may encounter down the line.
That's right. Who knows?
But by the time you listen to this, it's obviously been a perfect episode.
That's right.
So, speaking of which, there's a number of ways that you can support us, contact us, and listen to us.
Tell me all about them.
If you want to support us, you can listen to our podcasts, such as this one, or all the ones before it, or the ones that come after it. You can listen to us on many podcast applications. We say all of them, but we don't like to speak in absolutes. Only Siths speak in absolutes. So we're on Google, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Acast. There's a lot. We're on
tons.
A majority, a ton of them.
Yeah.
You can listen there. You can also purchase swag if you like the show enough that you want to wear our logo on your face or on your face, on your body, or on your. I guess you could.
If
you
they,
could make
if
like
they do
a
want
mask.
to wear the
Yeah,
t-shirt,
yeah,
you know, like
yeah.
up against the, you know.
Yeah,
or
you could
if
use
they
it as
want
a
to make a
cloth
mask,
covering.
if they want to buy one of our shirts and cut it up, then they can use it as a mask. There we go.
Yeah, yeah. Or you can drink out of our faces by buying a mug.
They could try with a t-shirt.
We always, yeah, you could drink out of our t-shirts. You could, whatever you do. More importantly, just let your friends know. That's if you want to support us and you really want to make sure it's just 3 friends. Tell 3 friends, not 4, not 2, 3 friends.
Remember, we will know, and we
If
will
you
be
tell
sad.
more, just say, "Hey, do you want to listen to a weird podcast that I listen to about video games?" Sure. What podcast is that? It's the Classic Gaming Brothers.
Better yet, find 3 of your friends, put them in a car. After this crisis is over, by the way, after the health crisis, when you can actually be close to people, put them in a car, lock the doors, put on one of our episodes,
Iconic.
leave the car.
Yeah, leave the car. Preferably, I think the iconic characters, whatever episode that
I think
was.
that's the one that I bootlegged onto our
Oh, yes,
cassette tape.
Don't play that over the
No, I'm not
mic.
gonna play that over the mic.
And or XCOM. XCOM's been doing.
XCOM's a good one. XCOM's
a good one. We like XCOM here.
Yeah.
So do that. And if you get arrested, it was not our fault.
No.
What else?
You can watch us if you want to.
You can also watch us if you want to, if you need something for your eyeballs to do. We play video games on Twitch and YouTube sporadically, and more so now that we're in quarantine, but so we won't know what our schedule will be for producing video content once the quarantine's lifted. But since Zach is no longer commuting, then we've had some free time. So we've been playing some games together on Twitch. We'll upload them to YouTube. You can actually play with us if you so desire. We have a Discord. You can come hang out on it if you so desire.
Yeah.
Just message us and we'll send you the link. And we also have a website, classicgamingbrothers.com, where you can send us feedback if you so wish to contact us. So you can go to the contact us form and fill out the feedback form, or you can send us an email direct to classicgamingbrothers@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, which is Classic Gaming Brothers. You can also follow us on Instagram, which is Classic Gaming Brothers, or you can follow us on Twitter, which is CG Brothers Pod.
Yeah, I broke it.
You did break it.
Yeah.
So that's the ways you can support us, listen to us, and contact us. Like, subscribe, share, ring bells, do all the social media stuff so that more people can hear about us, so that more people who need us in their lives we can be there for them.
That's right. That's right.
So, Zach, is there anything else?
Don't play games like my brother.
And don't play games like my brother.
I've been Zach.
And I've been Seth.
And we've been the Classic Gaming Brothers.
We have indeed. I'm just glad to just push stop. I just don't want no more of this. We've been at this for hours. Oh,